Greetings and welcome to spring semester, Justice 131, Rural Justice in Alaska. This is a pretty neat class. I like it. It's very, of all of our classes, we try to keep all of our classes pretty Alaska centric, and really discuss what's going on up here. This class, of course, being the title is Rural Justice in Alaska. It's very Alaska centric. Everything we talk about up here will have to do with the way we do things up here. So, neat class. Again, the very first time it's offered, you know, you guys are, don't want to say guinea pigs, but, you know, the brand new classes, brand new courses, there might be a glitch here and there. Those of you that were with us fall semester know that you need to drop an email occasionally and say, "Oh, gee whiz, this link doesn't work," and I'll fix it. So don't panic if there's a little glitch every here and there. I don't think there'll be many, but if there is, don't sweat it. Let's just get it fixed. Let's see. You've lucked out in this class somewhat. No big expensive textbooks. A couple of really neat books. This little guy, Crime and Policing in Small Town America, I really like. I'm really glad they came out with another edition. I used the first edition for a long time. This is the second edition, so make sure you have the right edition. But what a great book. I mean, you can sit down and cuddle up in front of the fireplace or the wood stove and read this in a day if you have to. We'll only be taking a chapter a week, so you don't have to. But it's good reading, and you'll like it, and you will be able to mull right through it. And there's a lot of very, Alaska pretty much invented small towns, so a lot of good relevant stuff. So you got to have this one. The other book, you might have, if you were with us last semester, you might have got a copy already. If not, get a copy. Syllabus tells how to order it. This is the Peace Officer Association Directory. You can't study small departments without this book. This book has a description of every department in the state, and great reference. It's not only got municipalities and towns and villages, it's got all of the state organizations, all the federal organizations. Really good. So make sure you get a copy of this right away. You won't be able to get far without it. Let's see what else is good about this class. I'm glad you found the lecture. Find one of these every week. Occasionally, it seemed like last semester, it was kind of like Mondays before I got these out. So they might not be out, at the beginning of the week on Sunday. But I always try to get them out by Monday or so. It just depends where I'm at and what I'm doing. But I try to get them out by Monday. So I'm glad you found this. Make sure you find it every week. There's changes that might happen and things we need to discuss and OG whizzes. And so spend 5 minutes with me every week and keep up with things. So you found this. The other thing I really need you to find and really need you to participate in are the discussion boards. We don't meet together as a class. Those discussion boards are the equivalent of our classroom time. I need you to get all the points you need and read the syllabus. That's how we grade. We grade on points. You can get any grade you want. It's just doing the, earning the points. And discussion boards are an important part of that. And I need you to, I often write back in my response to you on your discussion board, I say, post early, post often. Don't show up on the last day of class and post something and think it's going to be worth anything because you're not in on the discussion. So I need you there early in the week. I need you to participate. I often give extra credit. If you just go gangbusters and reply back to everybody and offer new stuff and really partake in the discussion boards, I often throw some extra credit in there. So, and there's a lot of stuff in there. There's a lot of times I'll throw links in there. Somebody will say something, I'll say, oh yeah, go look at this. And so if you're not in on the discussion board and not keeping up, you miss a lot of the class. So make sure you find the discussion boards. That's where we do a lot of the timely stuff. If you happen to have taken the addictions class last semester, and if you didn't, I think I'm going to offer the addictions class again summer semester. It seemed to be real popular, and it was a really good class. Anyway, the funny thing about the addictions class is every week, no matter what we were discussing, it seemed like Alaska was always number one. You know, Alaska is number one for alcoholics, number one for toddlers addicted to nicotine, number one for, you know, every bad thing you could find that we were studying that week. And there's a the same thing will be in this class. I don't know if you noticed in the newspaper recently, Alaska came out number one again. Here we are. It says, last week, when 3 members of the U.S. Indian Law and Order Commission were in Anchorage to present their critical report on public safety in Alaska villages, they said the last thing they wanted was to see their work sitting on the shelf with others like it gathering dust. Their report says Alaska is number one in doing a terrible job of law enforcement out in the villages and stuff. So that's something we're going to be watching. There's in this class, in the other class, if you happen to be taking the community policing class, you'll notice there's weekly quizzes, weekly open book quizzes. Depending on what you think of those, you might have lucked out because this class does not have that. There are no weekly quizzes. Unfortunately, if you have the weekly quizzes, that's 20 more points you can earn every week. Without the quizzes, there's fewer things to grade and they're worth more points. The midterm and the final in this class are 200 points apiece, which is a lot. I mean, that's half your grade. And they're projects. I'm going to have you, I want you to develop a PowerPoint for me. And the first PowerPoint, the midterm PowerPoint, will be on this report that says Alaska's number one in failing again. So if you haven't done a PowerPoint, the reason I'm requiring it is because it's a skill you need. Anymore, you know, we do a lot of writing because if you're going to get into this racket, you're going to do a lot of writing. But anymore, you can be called on to do a PowerPoint in a lot of different places. I'm always doing one for a community speech I got to give or some group I've got to meet with. And being able to turn out a good one. We've all sat through terrible, terrible, terrible PowerPoints. But to sit through a good one is really worthwhile. So I need you to develop the skill to develop a good one. If you've got Microsoft PowerPoint on your computer, great, you can use that. If not, there's some open source slideshows, which are the same thing, that are free and you just download them. We'll talk about that as we get closer. But just know that, you know, it's these kind of timely things that you've got to be up on top of. And so we'll talk a lot more about the PowerPoints and the midterms later and stuff. But that's one thing, one skill that if you don't have it now, you will 15 weeks from now. What else can we talk about? Let's see, we've got the books, we got the tests. Oh, the discussions this week, pretty easy. I want you to do a couple of things. There's 2 threads I've started. One is just to introduce yourself. Hi, this is me, this is where I am, this is what I'm doing, this is why I'm here. Post an introduction on yourself. Talk to some other people, you know, when so-and-so post their intro, you can post back, oh, gee whiz, I was in Kodiak for a while, or gee whiz, I've always wanted to go to such and such, but I haven't made it yet, or you know, my dad used to do that, or whatever. I mean, talk. The discussion boards are supposed to be exactly that, discussions back and forth. So talk to your classmates about your introductions. The other thing I want to know about is, again, this is a rural. This class is on rural Alaska. I want to know where you think you live. And I think it's interesting because one of the sources I gave you talks about the federal government having, I think it was 15 different definitions for rural. What is rural is up to discussion. Um, I want to know what you think where you are. Um, if you live in Palmer, is that rural? If you live in Seward, is that rural? If you live in Kaktovik, that's probably rural. Is Nome rural? Is Bethel rural? These huge hubs we have out that are only 3,000 people. So tell me what you think. That nope, I live downtown, I'm as urban as you can get, or even though I'm in the fourth largest city of the state, I'm still pretty darn rural. So let's discuss what you think, where you think you are. So that's the discussion this week. Um, jump in, start the threads, get the first chapter read, and I'll see you inside.